in this strategy, we're going to be using two pieces of base information to determine whether there are any horses in a race that we are interested in looking into further. This is only going to give us somewhere between 1 and 2 horses a day on average throughout the year, but we're going to focus on a specific race type for this strategy, and that is hurdle turf races. So obviously, this strategy is going to be more seasonal. Now, there are two pieces of information that we're going to use, is the best ever speed figure for the race type and the 5278 CFR rating. Now, both of these figures are available on the standard race card. You don't need to do anything, but you might want to shrink the other ratings down on that standard race card. So you may want to make a custom race card for this approach. That's totally up to you. Now, I've already gone through the races today at Aldermis, and I like Real Racing to go through an example of this to find them. And I've opened them up here. To do that, we just need to hover over to see which races are hurdle turf races. And you can see here there's one at midnight, hurdle turf race type. And we can just scroll along like this very quickly to find the ones which are going to be suitable. As I say, we're looking for hurdle turf race types. So that's how we do this. And you can do this on live racing as well. It works exactly the same. You can just hover over and get all of the race conditions available for you. But I've already opened the hurdle turf here that is taking place at midnight tonight at Aldermis. And then there are the two rules that we're going to implement straight away. And that is, we're going to look for the top ranked horse for the best ever speed rating over the current race type, and that is the SHORBES rating, SHORBES, and you see if I hover over it here, you can see it says best speed rating on today's race type. So we just want to sort this in order. If I click on the column header, you can see it just changes the order there of the horse. We want it from top rated to worst rated, so best to worst. Again, if you want to make your own custom race car for this, we do have a ranked version of this, a ranking, so you can just get one and very, very quickly look for the horse ranked number 1. So we're looking for the top rated horse here. The next thing we're going to use, so that is this horse here. So just highlight it so we can see it easily. The next thing we want to use is the 5278 CFR rating, and we're looking for this horse to be in the top 2 for this factor, the top 2 for this factor. And again, we can click on that to sort by, but we can see immediately this horse is ranked number 1 for this factor. So it's top rated, it's ranked number 1 for this factor. So it fulfills those two criteria. Now, in hurdle turf races, historically, these horses have shown to already make a profit straight out of the box. They have just over a 30% strike rate, and they have a strong return on investment and about an 8% advantage, roughly. So they're going to find the winner roughly 8% more often than the odds would suggest. So we're going to use that as our starting point here. And there's going to be roughly, on a normal day's racing in the UK, there's going to be about 2 of these horses that match that criteria a day. So now what we want to do is we want to go into those horses in a little bit more detail, just to give us an opinion as to whether this is one of the horses that's most likely to win or one of the horses that's least likely to win. And based on that, we can then decide whether we want to place a bet and what type of bet we actually want to place. But we know we're starting from a very strong point with an 8% advantage and a flat out historical profit on them. So how do we then look into them further? Well, I always like to use the DSLGR, or the days since last good race, and again we can see that this horse had a good race in the last 13 days. So that's great to see. Generally, I'm a bit more wary if it hasn't had a good race in the last kind of 180 days. I'm very wary if it hasn't had a good race for over a year. So those are kind of the two main points. Between 90 days and kind of 180-ish days, 6 months roughly, I start to get a little bit more cautious before I go from that kind of 6 months to a year caution. And then when we hit the point of not had a good race for longer than a year, I'm then very cautious. I will then not bet on that horse without going fully into the horse's history to see what's been going on. Has it been racing, performing really badly? Has it actually just not really been racing? So at that point, I definitely want to dig in a bit further and get some more information. But for now, we've got this horse here, And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a Monte Carlo simulation. I'm just going to keep it standard race score, all the fields there. So just leave it as standard. I'm not going to change the variants. They're going to stay as standard. I'm just going to use 1,000 simulations. Again, all the defaults here. We can go in and change this around a bit, but for the purposes of this strategy, certainly as a starting point, I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to go in and see what we get back out, because we already know this horse is likely to be a strong horse. And what I'm looking for really in the Monte Carlo simulation is a confirmation of the fact that we already know this horse is strong. I'm just looking for the confirmation. The confirmation being it's going to be in the top kind of half or half of the field. So the top, if it's an uneven number of runners, so in this case it would be in the kind of the top three. If it's an uneven number of runners, say 7, I would still be looking for 3. So I'll be going just one less than half the field. So obviously, if we had 7 runners, we'd be looking at half the field would be 3.5. So I'd be looking for 3. And there we go. That simulation has just finished. So I'm going to exit it and then come back in so that we can sort the columns nicely. I'm just going to sort in order of simulation, and there we can see our horse. Number 2 is top in it, so it's definitely within the top 3, and that's what I am looking for predominantly. I'm just looking to see if it's in there. I'm not worrying about all the details and the stats within there. I'm just looking to see if the simulation is also showing confidence in this runner. And in this case, it is, which is great. So that's good. Next, I'm going to just open that horse's history, which is what I always recommend you do. Just going to open that horse's history by clicking on the horse name. If I click on the horse's name, here we go, it opens up here, and we get that horse's history. Now, just to flip back over, we can remind ourselves this is a hurdle turf race, we know that, but it's a Class 4 race on good ground over 2 miles, and the prize money is around 4,000. So a good going over 2 miles, Class 4. Now, I'm just going to scroll back. When we've got enough history for a horse like this, this is really, really useful. So I want to scroll back here, but first of all, I'm just going to sort my ground condition actually. So I'm only interested in the good races. A quick scroll down shows us similar distances. So 2 miles here, and don't forget we are 2 miles, just over 2 miles actually. Sorry, I thought it was 2 miles 4 furlongs. So this is a bit long at 2 miles 3. Keep scrolling down. Here's a perfect one. Good ground, 2 miles at market race and Class 5 hurdle 4K. Very similar. It won that race by 5 lengths, which is excellent. Let's just keep going. Another 2-mile race here at Musselburgh, Class 5, 3,000 prize money. Won the race by 9 lengths. Superb. Let's just keep scrolling down. Here we go. Sedgefield, Class 5, 3,000. Similar race. Was beaten by 1.75 lengths, so it's still a good race there, which is great. So this is all very positive. This is all showing this horse that likes the ground conditions, likes the distance, likes the class, the prize money. It's all fitting quite nicely together here. We've got one here at Musselburgh where the horse was beaten by over 11 lengths. If I just hover over that, I can see what happened. The horse got outpaced. Okay, so we're going to come back to this race. Just make a note that this was on the 1st of February 2019, so a long time ago, so well over a year ago. And we've probably gone back far enough, we've looked at enough, but if we keep going down to finish all of these good races, we've got a few more down here at the bottom, 3 here, all very similar to today. And interestingly, all these were beaten, and this is going back some time. So just to confirm ourselves with those, I'm going to sort now by date time so we can see the date time order. And if we come back here, we've got those good races here. All have been pretty good down to the 12th of September last year. Coming down again, and then here we start to get the ones where the horse is beaten by bigger distances. And we can see here, the horse was beaten by 13 lengths there, and his previous win was a short win by 0.3 lengths. And interesting, we see there's been a big jump in weight at this time, 10.5 to 11.1. Since then, we've had 11.4, 2 miles coming down. Here we go. We've had 11.4, 10.13. So we've jumped up. We've increased in the weights, but this was kind of a big jump from his previous win there in the weights. which could account for this position. If we hover over, we can actually take a look out as well. And it just weakened. It tracked leaders and weakened. So it might be that this way it was just too much. It wasn't quite ready for it. So when we see this, we just want to be able to explain within our own minds a possible cause. I mean, we are going to be the extremes to find reasons, so it's just a quick glance through. But what we're predominantly looking for here, and then we start to get back to well over a year ago, and we're going back a little bit too far in history here. When we've got more recent races. So what we're looking for really is confirmation this horse can run under the conditions, and we have had that. The weight for today that the horse is carrying is 11.7, just so we know. So it's a heavier weight, but it's only marginally heavier than 11.4, and so it shouldn't make a huge difference. So 11.4 here, we shouldn't see a massive difference. And it won by 5 lengths in this race as well, so that should be absolutely fine. Now, that tells us the horse can perform over the current conditions. Now, the last thing I want to do, we've had 2 good indicators, because we've already got this horse initially based on those 2 rules. We know we've got an advantage. The Monte Carlo simulator has gone ahead and confirmed that it also considers this horse to be strong. We can also take a couple of other indicators. You may want to take the PR odds, and obviously it's the favourite currently, PR odds, with a 44% probability to win on the raw odds. So we can use that as an indicator if we want, but what I really want, after we've taken a look at the horse, we've confirmed it can perform with the ground, is I want to see the trend. Is this horse improving or declining, or just kind of performing static? And that's the last piece of information I want before we decide whether to do a bet. We can do this in 2 ways. We can do it on the horse's history here by going to the race card and looking at the previous ratings, and we can see very, very quickly here whether this horse is improving. We see it's had 169, and this has then started to jump up here to 197. And if we look at the PFP, we can see the trend running up here as well. It's kind of down here as 1488, 1485. We see a steady increase in that. And actually, the PFP is a really, really good rating to use that improving or declining for, because it lags a little bit behind what's happening with the horse. It takes a little bit of time for that to move, for that score to increase. So this is a really good rating to use to see if the horse is improving and declining over an extended period of time. We can see kind of going back, if we go all the way back, it starts at 1500, it kind of pretty much drops off all the way down here to 1485. We see a bit of an increase over here in 2019, and then that increase just kind of bounces a bit, but it keeps going steadily all the way up. So kind of from around 2018, we've seen a continual increase in performance for this horse over time, which is great. So that's one way we can do that. The other way we can do it is to look at the speed graphs, and this is the other way we can do it. And you don't have to do both. You can choose which of these you prefer, whether you prefer looking at numbers, whether you prefer looking at graphs. All we're going to do on the speed graphs is we're going to filter by our race type, which is hurdle turf. We're going to look at good, good to firm, and good to soft. I like to go one either side of the actual condition, and I'm just going to apply that filter there. And here we can see it, and I'm going to uncheck all of the horses and then just select the one horse we're interested in. And this just gives us a real visual representation of what's been happening over similar race conditions. So we can see here, over similar race conditions, this horse has kind of bounced around a bit at the beginning of its career, and then we've kind of seen a general incline in performance. I mean, we had a really hot performance here back in 2017, but even if we take that out, if we take it from its lowest point and draw a trajectory to its most recent point, that's a steady increase going through the middle. A couple of ups, a couple of downs, as we would expect, but generally it is improving. Most recently, there has been a bit of a decline, and this is possibly an anomaly. This particular figure here is very, very strong performance there. And we've seen a bit of a decline from that performance, but it seems to be leveling off here. Now, if we put all of the horses back on again, There we go. We can see that even with that leveling off, this horse is still head and shoulders kind of above the other horses. So we're expecting a strong performance from this horse. And that's, again, we're just looking to see improved decline, where does it fit within the big picture? And that's what we're looking to do. So you can use either the numerical way here by opening the form history, clicking on race card and using the PFP to chart that trajectory, or you can use the speed graphs, applying the dynamic filter and just looking to see, first of all, individually for the horse, how it's performed, and then how does it compare against the others. So all in all, this horse is looking nice and strong. Everything is pointing in the direction. If we take the odds on this horse as 2.63 in this particular race, we've not really got any margin to do an 80-20. We could possibly do an 80-20, actually. We haven't got a margin to do each way. That's not really going to work. We could do an 80-20, we could do a place bet, or we could go for a win. I would probably either go place or win in this scenario, because we're not going to get much from the 20% in an 80-20 split. So I'll probably go win or place. I'll actually go for a place on this. I'll put a stake in of 25. I'll take it from my my bonus wallet. Oh, I can't take it from my bonus wallet. That's fine. I'll take it from my standard wallet. I'll place that bet, and there we go. That bet's been placed at Aldermist for me, like real racing. So that's the approach that you can use with this. You can practice it obviously on Aldermist by coming over here. We can practice this on Aldermist in our like real racing. You can get used to it here before you then test it on live racing. So I would recommend doing that. You'll get more than 2 selections a day because Aldermist and our light real racing has far more races than live racing. So you're more likely to get something like 4 to 6 possible selections a day using Aldermist, so you'll be able to test the strategy, you'll be able to become familiar with it a lot faster. Obviously, you can also place your bets. You'll see your bets when you've made them. I haven't refreshed this page, that's why it's not showing there. But you'll see your bets when you've placed them just under your Aldermist bets here. And you'll be able to track them in your wallet by just clicking on the standard wallet, and you get your bet history back up here. And then obviously you can see those bets appearing there. There's nothing showing for me today because this bet hasn't actually yet, this race hasn't yet taken place. But when the race does take place, it will then appear there with the result. So if you've got any question on this strategy, please do come and post over in the forum. Let me know, ask questions. If you want to use it as part of your 1 to 4 strategy where I help you personally, then please also let me know in your personal thread for that. And if you haven't started that, to start that, all you need to do is head over to the forum here by clicking on the forum link. Coming into our main horse racing forum, you will see we've got the 4 most important questions to be profitable thread. Come in here, have a read of the thread, answer the 4 questions in your reply. You can leave your reply very simply just at the bottom here. Answer those 4 questions in there. What I will do is I will take your 4 questions and split them into their own thread in the forum. So that will be just for you, and we'll work on that together. And you can see we've got other people's 4-step strategies, 4-pointed strategies, where I'm working with them on their specific approach, and we take that base strategy for you, the one that you want to use. I can recommend one if you're not sure. We take that base strategy, and then I will work with you to get that base strategy to a 5% return on investment or higher. And then you've got the process. You can understand that process of how we take these strategies and make them work for us. And you can understand that process, and once you've got that process for one strategy, you can just replicate that again and again and again, and that's how you build up a portfolio of strategies. So if you've got any questions on this particular strategy, please do let me know. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.